Good afternoon. This is Chris Bretcher with the Simpler Stocks free video for February 17th, 2016. It's about 22 minutes after the bell. Today was all about the market reacting positively and continuing to act positively after rumors of stimulus last week, and then after capping its gains last week on the close of resuming their uptrend once you realized China wasn't going to go to an overnight Armageddon. So what I mean by this, and let me take this off so you can see the indexes, is right now we have the ES is up 30 from Friday, the NQ's up 86, and the Russell up 21. You had the bonds down 1, you had the transports up 160, and you had the Russell up 2150, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Basically, the way I looked at this is you have the ESs here on the left doing this. So all they're doing is reacting from an oversold condition, and they're coming back to try to bounce back and testing some of these resistance zones. Now, what happened on Friday is we had a good-looking market. And as you see on here, it got capped where it just sort of stayed in this area because traders wanted to flatten at the end of the day just in case China fell apart. Then we resumed the uptrend with a gap. Now what you have to do is take this on a either 15 or 78 minute. Either one on here, you can see it pretty clearly. And you see this gap right here. So this gap is about 50 points. We're taking this right here, 1810, I'm rounding off to 1860, is about 50 points. You then add 50 to 1865, you get to about 1915. Now, it wasn't that easy today. The reason I say that is there were a lot of times today where it looked like we were going to rally and we just started selling off. And it was very difficult to pick your spots in here. Now, in hindsight, when you look at this chart, you put a 15-minute on the left, and you see this right here that I was mentioning. I was mentioning that if we got over that, same with Apple, that if we got over 1881, and this rectangle measures like 10 points. And sure enough, you go right to 1891. Wasn't that easy, though. As you see, the one place to buy it, there were two places to buy today. One was right here when we broke right here. Second one was right here when you had the little bull flag intraday. Both of them worked nice. But later in the day, you got the chop. Now, the key on here is the chop, though, didn't sell off. So now we could have another leg, and that would get you around that 1915 level that I've been talking about all along. So that's something I'm looking for tomorrow. Now, look at the NQs on here, and I want you to see this. If you put the NQs on a daily, all we're doing now is coming back to test resistance. Now, the thing is, I don't take it just like this. What I do is I take a 195-minute chart. I'm going to link this so you see what I'm talking about. And then I zoom out. And I don't look at this level. That would have been like going like this. I do it like this instead. I do it like that. The reason being, I think that connects the dots better. If I'm right on that, we're going to have this move right to there, which would make complete sense of sort of undercutting it right here. And that would get right to that level, which would also make sense because if you go on the measuring gap, let me put it on 78 so you could see it better. This move right here to this move right there gets you to this level. So as you see, you had about 3870 to 4020 is about 150 points from the low, gets you right to this level. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for tomorrow. Then I think that we could resume the downtrend, but there's one thing you're missing in here. We're not that overbought yet on a daily. So I need to see these get up to these levels and start to get up overbought. I always say that when you see the ESs and the NQs rally in a down market, it's always the quality of the rally from the oversold condition. If you just meander in this area for the next couple of days and become overbought, that's very bearish. If we just blast up so we become overbought but also go to a new high, all bets are off on the downside. Very key days coming up, no doubt about it. So that's number one in here. Other thing that I'm watching in here is the transports. We're watching the transports and the Russell. I had called this on Simpler Stocks on the free side, on the premium side, about right here when we started to reverse in here. You had to look for the strongest components of the Dow Jones transports, and they would probably kick in on the upside. That's exactly what we saw. If you look at KSU, look at this stock from 62 to 80. And the whole idea is the transports had already started bottoming right when they came out with the earnings. And this is one of the stocks that started the transport rally because it reacted well to bad earnings. And it just kept going. So it's been up 18 points since then. Here's another one for you, CHRW. Looked like a bearish formation. Another one that reacted well to mediocre earnings. And when stocks start to react well to mediocre earnings, you realize the entire overall index and the components within it are probably going to outperform, which is exactly what happened. Now what we're getting is this rally right to the moving average and to the ATR trailing stop, and we're going to start getting overbought and major resistance. So I'm going to be watching that closely. Reason I'm showing the transport so much is because of the Russell. Look at the Russell on even a weekly, and you'll see a daily will give you a better idea. The Russell has been doing this. Here's the transports on the left, and they had this reversal and then went up. This had a reversal and went to a new low. So this did completely different than the transports. Notice, though, that new low had positive divergence. The key in here is if this is going to catch up with the transports, which will get the Russell up to these areas, then the components within the Russell are going to have to start rallying, obviously. So what you do is you go to a scan, and you go in here like this, and you go public, you go the Russell 2000, because the TF right here is the Russell 2000. It's just the futures on it. What you do then is you go through every single one, and that's what I do for Simpler Stocks Premium. I go through every one of these stocks to see if some of them have some kind of rounding bottom. Look at this. Even Buffalo Wild Wings, that had a lousy reaction to news on its earnings, is starting to form a squeeze and is trying to form a bottom that you could connect all the way here. But that's a Russell 2000 stock. You might say, well, why is it going up with lackluster earnings? Because if the TF rallies, the futures rally, it pulls up the biggest components of the Russell. And Buffalo Wild Wings is one of the biggest components. That's the way it works. Here's another one for you. Look at TYL. Another stock that looked horrible, hasn't even come up with earnings, and then rallies because of what? Because the TF brings it up. So those are the type of things we talk about on the premium side. Just so you know, it's $7 for a 30-day trial. This includes a number of things. I don't know if everybody realizes what it includes. But when I go to it, I do a chat room in the morning. Let me take off the arrows. We do an hour chat before the opening that I basically talk for an hour, answer questions, and it's a real-time chat. We also have premium videos like I've told you. We have chart ideas. We have the forum, and I have every week we're going to have a meetup from 15 minutes to an hour at night where we go over like my indicators or settings. And then what we do is we turn that into a learning center that has study guides, quizzes, courses, and these quizzes and study guides have been a huge hit. People have actually emailed me trying to get me to tell them what to do so they don't miss any questions on the quizzes. It's pretty cute. Second thing in here, you get the chart ideas. And what we have in here is index and futures charts. We have longer term ideas. We have shorter term like intraday ideas. And then a lot of times I post unusual option activity. And a lot of times what that is earnings plays, takeover rumors, and so forth. A lot of them have worked great. So I hope this explains a little more of what Simpler Stocks is all about and why it's worth doing a trial on here, and why literally we've had the highest in the business of trial people converting to monthly subscriptions. We've had a gigantic retention rate. So I hope everybody can take advantage of the offer. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. So everybody have a great night.